right? Or if you were playing with fireworks because you're a 17-year-old boy, or there's just so much stuff that can cause that positive that I just don't find it any kind of.
No, not at all. He could have picked it up in his own house too, because don't forget that a gun had been fired 3 times.
Yeah.
Just and then he goes and looks at the bodies of his family and that
touches them.
And that stuff, the residue from a gunshot can actually go 3 to 5 feet away from where the gun is. Mm-hmm. And so even if he didn't touch the bodies, if he was touching something right next to them, he probably got some of that stuff on him.
Well, I can't remember if it was Al or Jeannie. They found him in bed, or maybe it was both. I can't. And clarify this for me if you remember, Joe.
Yeah.
I know that at least one of them was in bed.
Yeah, one was in bed. One was in the bathroom.
One was the daughter was in the bathroom. So it's entirely. I think both parents were in the bedroom, though one of them had fallen out of bed. But the point is, if that gun was shot in the bedroom, and he walks up and he places his hand on that parent's chest, he's gonna pick up the gunshot residue, because that's less than 3 feet away from their head where the gun was fired.
Yeah. And
Eddie's story is hinky to me, but I've got to say that it's completely plausible that he just picked it up accidentally.
Oh yeah, I know. As far as not hearing the gunshots again,
he was washing his hair.
He was washing his hair.
Yeah.
They could have been, the killers could have used a suppressor. As far as there being no screaming and shouting, well, when you realize that you're confronted by a raging psycho from the temple who's going to murder you and your wife or your husband, you're probably thinking about your kids. And if you scream and shout, the only thing you're going to accomplish is get Eddie to come out of the room and get killed himself. Mm-hmm. I think that's the reason Eddie survived. I don't think they were there to kill the entire family. And actually, we shouldn't go into that too much anyway. But so I don't think it's that suspicious that Eddie didn't hear anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, so that's why I don't really believe that Eddie did it. So sorry, Berkeley PD.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. The next one, it was a drug deal gone bad. Because Eddie was, after all, addicted to marijuana.
Bunk.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but in fairness, right? Like, if it was a drug deal gone bad because Eddie was addicted to marijuana, he would be in not a great shape. Mm-hmm. Right? It'd be targeted at him. It wouldn't be targeted at his family.
Well,
or at the very least, he would have been involved in some way. Like, it's not that it was a drug deal between family members, is it?
No, I don't. People that put that thing out there. I mean, there were a lot of drugs being shipped down to the temple. But they weren't like recreational drugs.
It wasn't pot.
No, I don't think so. But
well, and that's the thing that I'm wondering about, because I know that, Joe, who is it? They're part of this theory is that somebody else was supposed to be at the house, and that's who the gunmen were after.
Yeah, Tim Stowen. Yeah. But,
okay. Okay, well, we've talked a little bit about this, is that there was a lot of drugs in Jonestown.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, I've read the accountings, and I still don't understand how they did this, but somehow they got around so many regulations to have drugs, pharmaceutical-grade drugs, shipped from the U.S. into Guyana and go through customs and get there.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was probably all those signed letters.
Yeah, or some kind of bribe. But the point is, those drugs were coming from somewhere. This is a year later, so it's possible that somebody got out and intercepted one of those shipments, or was still receiving those shipments locally before they were supposed to be sent down. That's all. I don't remember. I mean, there was a whole host of drugs that were being sent to Jonestown. So it's completely plausible that somebody said, "Wait, there's this completely legal stream of drugs that I can get my hands on and then sell on the street. Let's track that guy down." And the Mills, they were in the church. They're going to know about it. Or Stowen was there, and we need to get him. And then the whole thing went to pieces.
Yeah, maybe. I know that some people have speculated that they were looking for Stowen. I don't know if Stowen was actually involved in the whole drug business.
I don't know that at all.
The thing about Stowen is that before he joined the church, he was actually an assistant district attorney in the area. And then he left that job for a while to join the temple and did public work for the temple until he got to the fact that people after joining the certain relatives. Nowadays, he's back to being a district attorney. So I don't think he's the kind of guy that would get involved with running illegal drugs.
But who knows?
Yeah. I mean, if how do I say this without sounding like I'm bashing on his character? If
2nd, as I said, he was rearrested. Once again, he did a few days in the pokey, and then they put it in front of the DA's office again, and again the DA's office says, no. And that's it. So
Eddie went back to Japan.
Eddie went back to Japan.
And I'll bet you he'll never come back to the States.
I wouldn't.
At that point.
I wouldn't. No.
Yeah. But he's got, I think he's got a built-in defense there, though, again. I mean, it's obviously, the three of us, the most brilliant detectives in America, not the world, have already concluded that there's no way the prosecution can win a case against Eddie.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they've really got some seriously damning evidence against him.
No.
There ain't no way, so it's a waste of time.
You have to find the smoking gun.
Yeah.
That's the only way they could ever pin it on Eddie.
Yeah.
If they found a gun in his stuff and it just never got brought forward
And let's
for some
be fair,
weird reason.
That's not happening.
No, that's
because
not
if
happening
he
at all.
did have a gun, he's gotten rid of it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing, that's another thing I forgot to mention is the gun. They didn't find the gun. And
Yeah.
Eddie's, so now if you're going to take off after you murder your family and go get rid of the gun, which I presume you're going to want to do at some distance from your house.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You don't just drop it down the storm drain in front of your house.
No,
The cops look in those places.
They sure do. So obviously he had to go a little distance. Now, wouldn't it make sense to just stay away for a while and then come home a little late and say, "Oh my God, I snuck out the back because I wanted to go hang out with my buddies
and smoke some pot."
And now there's police cars here and dead bodies. Oh my God! I mean, instead he just goes out, disposes of the gun, comes back, just goes around, knowing that this go around, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen speculation that maybe Eddie wasn't as disenchanted with the temple as his parents were. Granted, 5 years later, they left in 75. Okay, so his parents were shot 5 years later, but there's speculation that he wasn't as disenchanted, or as an angsty teenager would say, "Oh, so much better than the temple, blah blah blah," and somehow was coerced into doing it that way. But then again, that doesn't make any sense to me because the timeline is too long. It had been a year, I could totally buy that. If his parents had left a year before, and then he you could see him doing it then because he missed that and he still believed. But 5 years is just too long for me.
Well, the other thing, the intervening thing, of course, was Jonestown. And, even if you'd been a little miffed, say at age 12 when they left, and after seeing what happened at Jonestown, he's going to
And
say,
all
"Hey,
his friends.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, I've been a little angry with you, but you know what? I think you, I really want to thank you for saving my life."
Yeah.
I don't think he'd be mad. I mean,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, there's no way. So I don't know, unless he's just a raging psycho. Yeah.
He hasn't exhibited any other raging psycho tendencies anywhere else.
Not at all. So again, People's Temple. Okay, so mystery solved. It's time to wrap this up and let you wonderful listeners get on with your day. You can find this episode plus all the related links and stuff like that on our website, which is thinkingsidewayspodcast.com. You can leave comments and listen to the episodes right there. More likely you're getting the episodes from iTunes. Yeah. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do subscribe, and also give us a review, preferably a nice review, but just give us a review. We'd like that. You can stream us from God knows how many websites these days.
True.
How many services? I have no idea. How many are there?
I don't know
bunch.
anymore. I can't. I don't even know how many I've signed us up for.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay. You can also find us and friend us on Facebook. We have a Facebook page and also a group. So Thinking Sideways Podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can also find us on Twitter, where we are Thinking Sideways. We left the G out. I don't know why. Probably had
For
something to do-
funsies.
For funsies, and probably
Or
we did,
character limit.
Character limit, yeah. And of course, if you want to send us an email, we love to get emails, especially if you rave about how wonderfully, awesomely sexy we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like those a lot. Our email address is thinkingsidewayspodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, and don't forget we've got the merchandise available,
Oh,
which
that's
is the
right,
link is on the site.
That's
Right, it's
right.
right
on
above
our
the
site,
donate
yeah.
button, right?
There's
Yeah.
merch. And what do we got? We got T-shirts, mugs.
Yep, all through Zazzle.
iPhone cases.
A
A nightlight.
A nightlight, and it's all, so if you see on the right-hand side bar, there'll be a set of stuff, and it'll say Zazzle, and then the button's underneath it, and you just go there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the nightlight, but I don't know if we mentioned this. The nightlight was suggested by one of our listeners.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Because she accidentally listened to some of our stories late at night and it creeped her out.
The creepy ones, not these ones.
And so we designed a super creepy nightlight.
Yes.
So she's actually worse off now.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's about it, folks. Until next week, this is Thinking Sideways Podcast saying sayonara.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
This episode of Thinking Sideways is not brought to you by porcupines, who are also balloon artists. Instead, it's brought to you by Pitney Bowes. No matter what your small office needs or sends, Pitney Bowes Send Pro C200 has you covered. The C200 lets you send mail and packages right from your desk. Plus, save 3 cents a letter and up to 39% off retail shipping rates. Start saving today and get a free 60-day trial of a Pitney Bowes C200. Visit them online at pb.com/sideways. That's PB, as in peanut butter. Well, I guess it wouldn't be peanut butter, it'd be more like Pitney Bowes, but you got the point. pb.com/sideways. Terms apply. See site for details.
Thinking Sideways.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thinking Sideways, the podcast. I am Devin, joined as always by
Steve.
And Joe.
the boys. Today we're going to talk about...
Boys are back in town.
Oh God. Today we're going to talk about a mystery.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Cool.
It's actually a mysterious disappearance that happened on Christmas Day, 1929. The disappearance was of a postman in Ireland.
This was, by the way, a big deal in Ireland.
Still actually is a little bit of a
Apparently.
Apparently, yeah.
I saw actually an article from 2012. They were gonna go search for him yet again.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Still haven't found him though.
No, they have not.
This episode was actually suggested by a number of people. Kira, also Mary and Kilkenny, and David were the 3 names that we actually bothered to write down before we started just saying, yeah, it's on the list.
Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like 3 is a good number.
Listen, we're better than we were at one time when we were so overwhelmed with emails that I would go into the list and I would find the date and the method of the suggestion and the story name and links and not who had suggested it. Because somehow we forgot.
Yeah. It's not so much of a mess anymore,
Well,
which is good.
I don't forget. I check. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's start with our postman, shall we?
Yeah, the missing postman is Stradbally.
Stradbally.
Was this the movie with Kevin Costner?
No.
No.
Oh, that's the wrong postman.
That was the postman, not the missing
Yeah.
postman.
I literally just didn't even know what you were talking about for a minute.
For
so.
once, I out-referenced you.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Well, it's just
Took
because
5
it's so
years.
old and awful.
Ouch.
Anyway, our postman's name was Larry Griffin. He was born in Waterford, Ireland in 1880. He served with the British Army from 1899 to 1907, and he spent most of his first army stint in India, and then he was discharged and married a woman named Mary.
Makes sense. Mary.
Yep. And then when World War I started, he re-enlisted,
As a lot of people did.
as a lot of people did. He was honorably discharged in June of 1916, having suffered some pretty bad injuries. His arm was damaged.
Whatever that. Maybe a little nerve damage. It sounds like he had use of it, really.
Yeah, I suspect it was,
Lack of, I think it was a loss of motion or range of motion.
I would suspect something like that.
This-
I think something blew up beside him because his arm was damaged, part of his ear, and many of his teeth from one side of his face were missing.
So some kind of ordnance probably went off near him.
I suspect.
Although
yeah.
I've seen pictures of him, and maybe these were taken before the war. I don't know, but he looks okay. And
No, I think
he
it
doesn't
was.
look all messed up. Or
I think it was
disfigured.
mostly. Yeah, I think it was hearing
Probably
damage.
the arm that was the major reason. They don't care if your ear looks ugly.
Yeah.
And if your teeth are all messed up.
I think they do care if you can hear out of that
Well,
ear.
but
though.
if your
probably
ear is
helps.
messed up looking,
Yeah.
but still functional, they don't
Yeah.
care. But I think the probably limited arms was the issue.
Yeah.
Actually, by World War I standards, he got off pretty light.
He did. He got off really light. And he actually was given some awards in 1918 for his bravery. So whatever happened, it was a brave act.
He took out a German machine gun nest.
Just with one hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just threw his arm.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Using rocks.
Yeah. After his discharge, he got a job as a postman, moving to Kilmacthomas.
Sounds right.
With his wife and 3 of his children. He had additional children. I actually don't know how many children total he had.
I had a really hard time with that
4.
as well.
I think it was 4 too,
4.
but
yeah.
it's kind of just this. Nobody really cares apparently. But one of his children was working, I believe, in England.
Yeah, that's what I heard. His
And then
eldest daughter.
And then the other 3 lived with them in what we're now going to call Kilmac for the rest of the episode.
And actually, that's okay.
actually the abbreviation. That's what a lot of people call it.
Yeah, I mean, if you lived in that town, would you pronounce the entire friggin' name every time? No. They call it Kilmac.
Yeah. In those days.